Kesatuan Foundation, as is known today, is started from humble beginning with the establishment of an elementary school in 1926. Our main focus today is on education for everybody willing to study from kindergarten to higher education.
Kesatuan Foundation is committed to participate in improving education to meet the present and future challenge in Indonesia, in our neighboring countries, and the world.
S.Pi Kesatuan always strive to convince the community that the existence of S.Pi Kesatuan is intended to provide a bridge for the community to gain a better life.
Kita bersama pasti bisa.
Kita bersama pasti kuat. Kita bersama pasti hebat.
Kita bersama menjadi yang terdepan.
Kesatuan Foundation, this is known today, is started from humble beginning with the establishment of an elementary school in 1926. Our main focus today is on education for everybody willing to study from kindergarten to higher education.
Kesatuan Foundation is committed to participate in improving education to meet the present and future challenges in Indonesia, in our neighboring countries, and the world.
S.Pi Kesatuan always strive to convince the community that the existence of S.Pi Kesatuan is intended to provide a bridge for the community to gain a better life.
Kita bersama pasti bisa.
Kita bersama pasti kuat. Kita bersama pasti hebat.
Kita bersama menjadi yang terdepan.
Wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat pagi. Salam sejahtera, shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, dan salam kebajikan. Thank you very much for joining us at International Guest Lecture. I'm super excited to be here. Excited because discussion will get a lot of things, such as knowledge, experiences, and so on. My name is Melle and I'm a student of Marketing Management Program and the Vocational Program at IB Kesatuan. And I would be your master ceremony today. First of all, thanks to Allah who has given us health, opportunity, spirit of power, mercy, and blessing. Because of His blessing, we're able to attend this forum to hold an international guest lecture. We are honored today to have speech on the topic consumer behavior in digital era. We would like to thank the presence of Dr. Jonathan Famil, who will act as the speaker at our international guest lecture. By saying Bismillah, let's open this event. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, well, we have passed the first agenda as opening, and then we turn to second agenda, singing the national anthem, Indonesia Raya. For all attendances, please you take a right sitting posture in front of the monitor screen.
Bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya, bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah badannya untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang kucinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang kucinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya.
All right, we're now continuing our international guest lecture to the next agenda, that is to hear welcoming speech from Rector of Institut Bisnis dan Informatika Kesatuan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Profesor Dr. Haji Murmahadi Suryaja Negara, SAMM, AFA, CPSCA, CSFA, ASEAN CPA. Time is yours.
Oke, thank you. Yang saya hormati para Wakil Rektor IB Kesatuan, Distinguished Guest Lecturer, Dr. John Van Melle, respected participant, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Pertama-tama, marilah kita manjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, atas perlindungan serta limpahan rahmat dan karunia-Nya, sehingga kita semua dapat berkumpul pada acara International Guest Lecture Program Vokasi IB Kesatuan yang diselenggarakan secara online melalui aplikasi Zoom dan YouTube. Hadirin yang berbahagia, ladies and gentlemen, pandemi COVID-19 telah mengubah dengan begitu cepat bentuk interaksi sosial masyarakat ke arah teknologi digital. Terdapat 3 aspek transformasi digital sejak pandemi berlangsung, yaitu more technology, more automation, dan less mobility atau borderless work. More teknologi tercermin dari semakin banyak teknologi-teknologi baru yang muncul, yang dimanfaatkan oleh masyarakat kita untuk menunjang kebutuhan sehari-hari seperti digital banking dan digital commerce. Dalam dunia bisnis, artificial intelligence telah menciptakan sistem pencatatan dan analisis data menjadi more automation yang membantu perusahaan mengolah data secara otomatis dan cepat dalam pengambilan keputusan. Less mobility atau borderless work saat ini merupakan tren yang sudah menjadi bagian dari keseharian kita, di mana kita dapat melaksanakan rapat atau pertemuan secara virtual dari manapun tanpa harus berpergian. Oleh karena itu, IBI Kesatuan melalui program vokasi menyelenggarakan kegiatan International Guest Lecture dengan tema utama terkait dengan pengaruh digital teknologi di bidang marketing, keuangan dan perbankan, serta akuntansi. Kegiatan ini mengundang 3 orang guest lecture dari Netherlands, Pakistan, dan Australia yang merupakan para ahli dan pakar di bidangnya. We would like to express our profound gratitude to Dr. John van Melle from Avans University, Netherlands, Dr. Naima Anlip from Ilma University, Karachi, Pakistan, and Professor Alan Lowe from MIT University, Australia, for their valuable contribution to these events. Hadirin yang berbahagia, ladies and gentlemen, akhir kata, marilah kita bulatkan tekad untuk senantiasa mengembangkan diri. Kita tidak bisa berharap untuk kembali ke era pra-pandemi. Kita harus sigap beradaptasi ke tantangan ekonomi baru dengan teknologi yang terus berkembang secara cepat dan dinamis. Demand pasar akan bergerak sehingga kita harus mencari strategi bisnis baru agar bisa menjadi the first man running, bukan the last man standing. Marilah kita berkomitmen bersama-sama untuk terus mengembangkan skill dan memiliki semangat belajar terus-menerus tanpa henti. Semoga Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala meridhoi dan memberikan pahala dari semua ikhtiar kita untuk memajukan Indonesia, negara yang sangat kita cintai ini. Sekian dan terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Recording in progress.
Thank you very much for welcoming speech from Professor Dr. Haji Murmahadi, Surya Negara, SAMM, AK, CPA, CA, CSFA, ASEAN CPA. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the first speaker who will also guide this event, Mr. Bambang Hengky lecturer from IBI Kesatuan. But before that, let me read you the curriculum vitae of Mr. Bambang. All right. Mr. Bambang Hengky S.Pi, MM, is a lecturer at IBI Kesatuan. Mr. Bambang has been joined at IBI Kesatuan for 16 years as a lecturer. And besides teaching, Mr. Bambang also has 14 years of experiences as a consultant at the World Bank. Japan International Cooperation Agency, and Islamic Development Bank. He's the last position in the World Bank Consultants as team leader in the SPIRIT program, which is run by the Indonesian National Development Planning Agency, or we call it Bappenas. Currently, he's appointed as head of the Tourism Study program at Kesatuan. He is now currently attending a doctorate program at UTHM Malaysia. So, we invite Mr. Bambang Hengky as the first speaker to deliver his presentation. Mr. Bambang, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Diva.
Right, time is yours, Mr. Bambang.
Okay, thank you very much, Diva. Is it my voice is okay? Can you hear my voice? Okay, good. Okay. 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 Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for the committee of this international guest lecture from a vocational program, Institut Bisnis and Informatika Kesatuan. And also, I would like to my best regard for Professor Dr. Murmahadi Suryaja Negara, and then also our Wakil Rektor 1, Bapak Firdaus Amyar, PhD, Wakil Rektor 2, Dr. Sutarti, dan Wakil Rektor 3, Dr. Nusa Muktiaji, and also all of the staff in IB Kesatuan. Okay, I will be as first speakers, but the main speakers is my colleague. He is my best friend. His name is Jonathan Van Melle. But before that, I would like to give introduce for you. For the administration, please, operator, can you set my presentation? Okay. Now we start for the main of the theme today. But before that, I would like to say thank you to joining the international guest lecture, even organized by Vocational program, which is hosted by IB Kesatuan. Actually, this international guest lecture activity is divided into 3 sessions. The first session is today, which is discussed about customer behavior in digital era. And then tomorrow and Tuesday, Wednesday, December 8, 2021, we'll hold the theme of banking, especially discussing about fintech and banking digitalization. And then the third days in Thursday, 9 December 2021, which main theme is recent financial issues, namely the pattern of calculation, environmental impact in relation to accounting. So, besides today, I would also like to invite all of this audience here to join for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Hopefully, by participating in these 3 sessions of the international guest lecture, we will all gain additional insight and knowledge. Especially today, apart of me, we will have a lecture from Avans University, here located in Breda City, Netherlands country. Our guest lecturer is Dr. Jonathan Van Melle. He is expert in several fields, especially those related to intercultural studies. Okay, next slide. Now, when we talk about the consumer behavior in the digital era, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic, all sectors feel that they have to change themselves. This is because the pandemic condition due to the coronavirus, which caused us to be limited in doing activities. Starting from going to school, working at work, meetings, shopping, sightseeing, including traveling, all become changed. From this picture, it can be seen that the change in the way of shopping, which previously changed from the direct shopping to the supermarket or traditional market, and then suddenly had to change in the short time to online shopping. I would also show data from change in online shopping on the next slide. Such change in customer behavior have brought major change for business people in offering and selling their product. Consumers are facilitated by simply opening their laptop, PC, tablet, or cell phone to the search, choose, buy, and even pay or make transaction for the product or services they need. So, okay, next slide. Okay, in this slide, okay, yeah. In this slide, it seems that change due to the COVID pandemic, like this will change customer behavior in next phase, even if the pandemic has ended. All of this because the convince that are made accepted by consumer who may have used to do conventional shopping. This include models and way to learning of schools and campuses. If the past they carry out the learning process 100% always in class, where the teacher or lecturer meet face-to-face with student or students, it seems that the future it will be changed. Not always having to be face-to-face anymore. This is because it will turn into a virtual face-to-face. It's same with that he is currently doing, namely the international guest lecture like this. We can easily facilitate this activity with a wide audience coverage. The total number of audience who registered for the three events was more than 1,500 people from various areas. This shows that indeed the change in the customer behavior with digitalization has gotten bigger over the last 2 years during the pandemic. We can show here that before the pandemic, the transaction for the e-commerce around 50% or less than 50%, but suddenly in the pandemic, more than 200%. This is the transaction. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Let's see the figure. From this figure, we can divide the condition caused by coronavirus into three phases: left, center, and then the right. The first phase in the left is the phase where all parties are panicked. And then the second phase is our moment of adoption. And then the third phase in the right side is implementing of new normal. During the first phase, namely panic phase, we do think how to survive, because at that time we didn't understand what this disease was, and then how to prevent it and how to deal with it. All we knew that this disease was contagious due to interaction with other people. And what we do is secure our supplies of food, drinks, household, and then optimize our warehouse and also freezer. In the second phase, what we did at the time was looking for solution from panic phase. we are still need to continuing our life. For example, shopping but by online, working from home, watching television or cell phones more often, and even a few are looking for home activities according to their interests and hobbies. Some like gardening, raising animal, or other activities. All looking for entertainment on external conditions are not yet certain. In the third page, in the right side, which is the new normal, we have started to be able to do activities outside, but with the restriction on the movement because continue to follow health protocols and become very picky about these outside activities. One of them really choose to travel. Okay, next slide, please. Then several industries affected by COVID-19 outbreak. One of the most affected is the tourism industry due to travel restriction, which have resulted in the unpredictable slump in the number of international tourists. This situation has an impact on changing customer behavior toward intention to travel. Travel behavior and during the COVID-19 pandemic was explored. Significant change in the primary purpose of traveling was observed due to the pandemic. People then to use less public transportation and more using private cars during the pandemic. So the number of tourists using planes is so below before the pandemic. Of course, we all hope this pandemic will end soon, hopefully. Okay, the last slide. Then, thank you for the following my presentation. Next, we will listen to the presentation from our guest lecturer from Netherlands country, Mr. Jonathan van Melle. Mr. Jonathan, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm very excited and grateful to be invited to this international guest lecture event.
Okay.
So happy to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, we would also say thank you to you, Mr. Jonathan. But before that, let me read your CV.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Jonathan van Melle, work experience in Avans University starting from 2010 until right now as a professor and researcher of intercultural sensitivity. Mr. Jonathan also as a professor of finance, visiting professor of finance and intercultural sensitivity in North America, Europe, and also Asia. Intercultural consultant and trainer for enterprise in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Mr. Jonathan van Melle also as ambassador Avans Ambition 2025. And then so many experience of Mr. Jonathan van Melle. Mr. Jonathan van Melle education background is he is doctoral in higher education from University of Liverpool, United Kingdom, and specialty is intercultural sensitivity, and the master American Culture Studies, Bowling Green State University on USA, and then the bachelor in international business and management from Avans University Applied Science in Breda. Okay, Mr. Jonathan van Melle, maybe it's better if you explain about your university to our audience also. May?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Mr. Jonathan van Melle, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that also my slides can be shared on the screen, if that's possible.
Okay, yeah. So the operator will help you.
Yeah.
You will show by yourself or our operator?
I can show it by myself. That's
okay.
I'll share my screen.
Please,
no
okay,
problem.
please.
Okay. So here we go. Share screen. Okay, is it viewable or not yet?
Okay, now it's okay.
Can you see my slides?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Yes. All right.
Fantastic.
So good morning, everyone. And thank you, Mr. Bambang, for this very nice introduction. And again, I have enjoyed our cooperation over the last 4 years. And I hope there will be many more years of our schools to cooperate with one another. Today, dear audience, I'd like to share with you the topic of meeting the needs of Dutch travelers, how to stand out with touristic service, especially in this digital era, keeping in mind also the consumer behavior, specifically of the Dutch, because since I'm from the Netherlands, that's something I would like to zoom into and share with you, because clearly there is a relationship between both our countries, the Netherlands and Indonesia. As Mr. Bambang just mentioned, I'll share a little bit about my school first of all, and also a small bit about myself, so that you also have an idea of where I work and how one of our partners, our schools, how we got to know each other. So I'm a doctor in intercultural sensitivity. The school I work for is Avans University of Applied Sciences, and that really means that we do research in service of finding solutions for practical problems in society, whether they are for companies, whether they are for governmental organizations, or for instance, non-governmental organizations. Our school, Avans University, has 3 locations in the Netherlands. My hometown is in Breda, as Mr. Bambang already mentioned. This is very close to the Belgian border. So if you take the car 10 minutes away, you're in another country. And because of this, we have quite a number of international students from Europe, because it is quite easy to reach our school. We have 69 bachelor programs in all disciplines that you can think of. And sustainability is one of the key pillars of our school. It has become one of our key pillars. And this building is an example of that. If you see the picture, you see there's a big glass front of one of our buildings on campus. And that helps to create natural heat in the building so that we use less, let's say, traditional forms of energy. And that's better for the environment. I work at the business school of Avans, the international business school. So the teaching that I do is part of our business program. And prior to this, and Mr. Bambang already mentioned some about that, I worked in Indonesia, actually relatively close to where I guess several of the viewers today are located, namely in Cibinong. I worked in Beirut, Lebanon, and also in the United States. Besides Ohio, also in Washington, D.C. And also perhaps nice to share with you is that my wife, she is actually from Indonesia, from Jakarta, and she moved to live with me in the Netherlands in 2018. So in that sense, I have quite some history already with Indonesia, which is also why I enjoy very much to be part of this event. The topic of today is a topic that I really would like to put in the context of the relationships between the Netherlands and Indonesia, because obviously we have a shared history. And in this shared history, of course, the Dutch did many, let's say, bad things in Indonesia and also to its Indonesian people. But one of the consequences of this shared history that we do have is that today, 2021, there are about 2 million people in the Netherlands who have some kind of family tie with Indonesia. So 2 million is really significant because we are a small country with only 18 million citizens. So 1 in 9 Dutch people will have family ties. Now, if you think about that, the distance between our two countries is about 12,000 kilometers. So if you travel from your location where you are now all the way 12,000 kilometers westwards, you will find many people, if you tell them you're from Indonesia, who will say, wow, oh, you're from Indonesia. Well, I have an uncle from Indonesia, or my brother-in-law is from Indonesia, or I have a cousin who actually is from, for instance, Jakarta or Bogor, for that matter. So in that sense, it's quite remarkable how, let's say, how much integration there is of people from Indonesia or with origins from Indonesia in the Dutch society. And this picture also shows that, because as the generations, let's say, grow, you can see all the mixtures in people's faces, for example. Now, one of the consequences of this integration is also that Dutch people themselves, they have a fully integrated the Indonesian cuisine in their weekly meals. So for any Dutch person, it is really normal to eat, for instance, gado-gado, or to order a rijsttafel, and you can find all types of Indonesian food products in basically any supermarket in the Netherlands. Plus, so on top of that, there are many restaurants, Indonesian restaurants in the Netherlands, and many of them are very successful. The picture on the right shows a restaurant called Surabaya, and this is a restaurant run by a friend of mine in Eindhoven, which is the city from which Philips Electronics originates. And also this restaurant is very popular, and you find many of these kinds of restaurants in the Netherlands. Also, by the way, in my hometown. Now, this is really special because the moment you go to Belgium, which is just 10 minutes away, or to Germany, or a little bit further south to France, you will not find this. So you will not find Indonesian products in supermarkets, or you will hardly ever see Indonesian restaurants. And to give you an example, my wife, she has quite some friends from Indonesia living in Europe, and they complain all the time that they miss the food so much. So they ask my wife, please come over, visit us, and bring some food, because we really miss it. So in that sense, for the Dutch, it is completely normal to have these products, but in the rest of Europe, you're not really likely to find this. Now, that is just a little bit of the context that I'd like to give for the main topic on meeting the needs of Dutch travelers, focusing on their consumer behavior in this digital era. And one of the things that I'd like to start with on the main topic is the following fact, namely that Indonesia is really a popular destination for Dutch travelers. So pre-corona, about 250,000 Dutch travelers would go year by year to Indonesia. And while the number may not seem so big, again, on a small population, it's quite big, especially if you realize that traditionally for Dutch consumers, a holiday in Belgium or France or Italy or Spain or even Germany is more likely and is much easier, because all they have to do is take their car, and sometimes they have like a kind of a caravan behind them where they can sleep and they can cook. And, you know, that is really, really popular and very easy to do. But despite that easiness of reaching other European countries, many travelers, they have on top of mind, no, I want to travel to, for instance, Bandung or to Bali. And in fact, if you ask a Dutch person, well, what would be your dream destination? If you could pick any location in the world, many would say Bali. So they would really pick that as the one place they would prefer to visit over any place in the world. So in that sense, you can really tell how connected the Dutch feel still to Indonesia. Now, if you look at the consumer behavior, then maybe if you have ever met someone from the Netherlands, you may have noticed that they are not, let's say, that keen on spending money. And that also makes it quite difficult to meet Dutch travelers' needs in terms of the services you offer, whether you offer it as an accommodation, like a hotel, or whether you offer it, for instance, as a guided tour operator. And one of the things that the Dutch are really known for is the slogan in Dutch, kijken, kijken, niet kopen, which translates into English like, well, you're just looking and looking, but you're not making any purchases. So getting a Dutch consumer to actually pay for your service is a major challenge in order to help them make their needs. But there are certain ways how you can deal with that, which I would like to address. Now, one of the things that the Dutch are very sensitive to in terms of consumption is that they want to know that what is on offer, for instance, a service, is really unique. It's really something that you can say it is a temporary service. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You just happen to be there at the right time, at the right location. So this is your lucky day. And then suddenly they feel, okay, there is scarcity. There's not much of it. Maybe I should just buy this service now because I may never get the opportunity. And many stores in the Netherlands also use that. They use the trigger of scarcity. Let's just market our product that there are not that many, or let's market as kind of a sales action for 2 or 3 days. Yeah, and then people really feel this urge. Oh, normally I don't like to spend money. Now I can have a good deal. Let's do it now. So the Dutch are very sensitive to this scarcity, uniqueness, and things that are temporary. That makes them kind of feel that they want to open their wallet and pay their money. So you could say, if you're dealing with Dutch tourists for your touristic services, then generally speaking, of course, for a Dutch tourist, nothing is expensive in Indonesia. And that has simply to do with the purchasing power. A euro, if you convert it in rupiah, that can buy a Dutch tourist a lot because of also of the exchange rates. But the issue is, unless a Dutch consumer has the feeling that they are getting a good price, they can still think that they don't want to spend that much in another country, even if prices are lower. And this is where you can play around a little bit with this, price setting, demand, supply, to make them feel, the Dutch travelers, that they can actually strike a good deal. So one of the advices here is, if you do offer a service with your own company, is initially charge a higher price. So charge a higher price than you would actually want to have, because then a Dutch tourist has some kind of room to bargain to a little bit of a lower price, which is very much the price you are still happy with. And then you have the price you can accept. And the Dutch traveler feels, hey, I made a good deal today. I'm going to go for this particular service. So you give them sort of the illusion that they actually got a very good price. And in fact, of course, you just charge the price that you actually want. Now, that's really something that helps. And this picture also shows that, because if you go on a Saturday afternoon into any center of a city, you will see many shops in streets. We don't really have shopping malls, so we have streets with shops next to one another. And there you see that people walk around with these bags, showing, okay, hey, I made some good deals. And that makes them actually feel very happy, because they like the illusion of having a good price. When it comes to traveling specifically, more and more Dutch are aware of the importance of sustainability. In part, you can explain that because we are from a very small country. So we have a big ocean next to us, and we are aware that with rising sea levels, our country in part is in danger because of the rising sea levels. So sustainability is fully integrated in most bachelor programs, especially also at Avans. We have some national learning outcomes that in each program must be executed so that students know, hey, sustainability is important in a marketing plan or in an international business expansion plan. And because of this growing awareness and the integration of sustainability in different layers of our society, such as education, more and more tourists, they feel that they want to know what can they do to offset their ecological footprint. So what can they do that if they book a flight, for instance, to Jakarta, what can they do to offset the carbon emission from the flight? Now, if you can marketize your touristic service and showing that's actually sustainable, that it's actually not damaging the environment, then you can have tourists who use your service with that ambition to show that they use your service and that they offset their carbon footprint, and make them then your ambassadors and make them share with pictures on Instagram or Facebook or any other social media account. Hey, we did this and it's not damaging for the environment. And that's something that the Dutch tourists like to share. They're very online. They have a lot of presence through social media here because the internet penetration is really high in the Netherlands. It's one of the highest in the world. It's about 96%. And in that way, you make tourist ambassadors of the sustainable touristic service that you offer. Now, another thing that is really important in light of consumer behavior and meeting travelers' needs, that is the point of service. Now, I know that what is stated here on the slide sounds very obvious. Have service, friendly, and quick. But there really is a cultural aspect to that I would like to share, because this is also where between Dutch culture on the one hand and Indonesian culture on the other hand, sometimes there can be some misunderstanding. And that is about the following. For Dutch people, so for Dutch travelers also, time is really essential. So the Dutch are really keepers of time. Timing for them is everything. So for example, if you were to agree to meet at a meeting at 10 a.m. in the morning in the Netherlands, you gotta be there 2 minutes before 10 a.m. Because by doing that, you show that the meeting is important to you. And if you say, for example, okay, we're gonna, let's say, kick off a session at 12:30, you gotta be there before that time. But as I've also noticed, this is not necessarily the way things go in Indonesia, because time is more, let's say, stretchable and also more flexible. So my wife and I, for example, we have quite some discussions about this. For example, when we want to book a flight far away, I would be the one saying, let's book the flight a few months before we actually go. My wife would be perfectly happy to do this, to book the flight a few days before we go. And that's something that you have to understand. When a Dutch person travels, they want everything organized. They want to make sure it is all covered, it is all taken care of. Otherwise, they become quite nervous. And then, of course, if I become very stressed and my wife tells me, tenang, tenang, just take it easy, because everything will be okay. Now, this is where, when it comes to stress and timing, where I'd like to share with you a special opportunity to make your services stand out versus other touristic services. And I would like to do this by showing a picture of a marketing guru in the Netherlands. The picture is of Jos Burgers. And Jos Burgers, he is a well-renowned guest speaker in the Netherlands about what people truly need and how to marketize this. So one of the things that Jos Burgers pointed out years ago is the following example, and I will use this example as a metaphor for the touristic services. He once said, look, if you sell drilling machines, such as portrayed on this picture, and more people come to your store to buy drilling machines, then at some point you would really get the idea that there's a huge demand among people for drilling machines. But in fact, he said, that is actually not accurate, because when somebody is buying drilling equipment, they are not really in need of a drilling machine. No, what they really are in need of are the holes that you make with the drilling machines, as is also portrayed on the picture. As you can see, the person is drilling some holes. So marketing-wise, it is therefore better to emphasize the possibilities that the drilling machine gives you in making those holes, rather than that you focus on the machine itself, like the color or the features or just the price, because that is not important. The most important thing for people who buy a drilling machine is the holes that it can make. Now, likewise, if we use this basic idea as a metaphor of Mr. Burgers and apply it to the needs of the Dutch travelers, then we can see that the Dutch travelers are not so much in need, for instance, of a nice hotel with a nice breakfast or a nice swimming pool when they go to Bali or, for instance, to Sumatra, just to name an example. And oftentimes these kinds of pictures we do see actually when accommodations are selling themselves, and you see this all over the world. And any country, they always show the facilities, the breakfast, the dinner, but in fact, that is not entirely what a Dutch traveler is looking for. Now, in terms of consumer behavior, we use quite some online platforms to do our bookings. One of them is booking.com. This is actually also an office located in the Netherlands. So Booking really has a highly Dutch influence. We have other websites like hotels.com or Trivago. And yeah, the Dutch really like to make their own bookings and really specify trips to their own needs. So going to a travel agency hardly ever happens anymore. So if you go to these websites, then oftentimes what you see are these filters, and these filters are emphasizing, what do we have on offer for the tourist? So for example, you see filters like the breakfast, the number of stars, what kind of facilities you have, is there a gym, is there a pool, things like that. But if you think about it, I live in the Netherlands. I'm not going to fly 12,000 kilometers just to take a nice swim in a pool. I'm not going to fly 12,000 kilometers to have a nice breakfast. I can do that in the Netherlands as well. So why are we as accommodations emphasizing those features if that is not truly what travelers from the Netherlands, for instance, want? In fact, what a Dutch traveler actually is looking for, so the real need behind all of this, is a very simple thing, namely rest. That is what a Dutch traveler truly is looking for. Can I get rest somewhere, anywhere? And how can I get it in the very best way? Now, the reason that rest is so important for Dutch travelers, why is rest sort of like a consumption product? That has everything to do with the way we live our lives and the way we do our work. 21% of all Dutch employees right now are on a burnout. So we're talking about over 1 million people out of 18 million who are sitting at home, who feel so sick because of their work that they cannot do anything. They're not being productive anymore. And about 60% of all Dutch employees, and that's higher than the EU average, experience stress regularly. Now, clearly, that triggers people to travel. It triggers them to really take their mind off and say, I want to be away from all of this, and I want to get rested. And then you can imagine that the further you go away, the easier it is to get things off your mindset. But the thing is, if you go away, if indeed you take the flight, for example, to Indonesia, then the last thing that you want to see happening is that your holiday starts to feel like a work week. And what we see in the tourist industry, and this goes for many countries, is that in fact, things are organized in hotels, in guided tours, and other kinds of services. Things are organized in such a way that for Dutch travelers, for example, it feels like they are still at work. And why is that? This is because most hotels start with their breakfast services very early and also end with their breakfast relatively early. That forces tourists who just arrived and who try to take some rest to wake up early again. Their tour guides start really early. That means you have to wake up even earlier to have some breakfast before you get into the bus. And then you're being guided throughout the whole day. And at the end of the day, you come back to your hotel and you're completely exhausted. Yeah, but that is exactly the feeling that you normally got when you're at work. So where is the moment of rest then for the traveler? Now, this is something where there is a big gap still to fill overall. So also in other places around the world, where you can say, hey, what can we do as a hotel or as a tour guide service in order to truly market the idea that if you come to us, you will be fully rested. Now, this is something where you as an operator can say, look, rather than having the standard filters that we see on a website like booking.com, this is just a template from that, and then adapted, of course, is you can create a competitive advantage by showing in what ways people actually can get rested. So, for example, you could emphasize that having a late breakfast is possible at your hotel. You could emphasize that it is possible to have flexible guided tours so that you can actually hop in later on during the day. Of course, you miss some locations, but there is still the possibility to join in when it suits you better. And yeah, offering them that kind of rest may seem like a nice idea, but still it is not easy to do. And that has to do with the example I gave earlier, that Dutch travelers and Dutch people in general are so focused on the timing. So how can you offer rest to Dutch travelers knowing that they're always thinking about timing in their minds? Well, I'll share it with you. Here you see a picture of someone holding a cup of coffee. Coffee is probably one of the most important drinks for Dutch consumers. Yeah, they're very proud of their coffee culture. They're very proud in how they make coffee themselves. That's why they don't necessarily like to go to a coffee outlet, because they feel at home they are much better able to produce coffee. So one of the first things that a Dutch tourist is looking for is a cup of coffee. It can be in the morning, it can even be late at night. Coffee is crucial for them. So let's say that you're at a hotel and a Dutch tourist then makes this order for a cup of coffee. If you really want to offer the Dutch tourist rest, it is crucial that you offer this cup of coffee within 3 minutes from the order. Because if you are offering something, delivering at the table in a longer time span than 3 minutes, people become nervous. Yeah, what you typically see is the Dutch tourist doing like this, looking around from left to right, looking over their shoulder the whole time, thinking, oh my God, where is my coffee? Did they accidentally give it to someone else? Did they forget me perhaps? Shall I make the coffee myself? That goes on in the mind of a Dutch tourist, because if it doesn't happen quickly, they actually become stressed. Yeah, and then the whole idea of offering rest is gone. So in a sense, the secret to offering rest to consumers is by having your staff working super fast. Because the faster you work, the faster you offer your service, the more at ease Dutch travelers actually become. Because then they feel that time management is not an issue that they have to pay attention to anymore. In fact, you could say that if you stress yourself out and a Dutch tourist at some point sees how stressed you are, they tell you, okay, take it easy. Because in the end, in the Netherlands, people like a work-life balance, even though it's difficult for them to have that balance. And if a Dutch tourist tells you to take it easy, to slow down, now then you can say you have truly accomplished the goal of offering rest. Because if a Dutch tourist says to you, take it easy, that means they have become fully relaxed with your touristic services. And then, what you actually do is you make your tourist, your guest, ambassadors of rest. So marketing-wise, focusing on the consumer behavior, since the Dutch really like to purchase their things online, since we have such a high internet penetration rate, is instead of showing the meal itself, instead of showing the view or the pool itself, show people actually being relaxed. If you look at these two pictures, then you can clearly see these people are really enjoying their time. And that message that is implicit in the picture, that is the message that conveys, if you come over here, this is how your life can be for a week or two. This is how you can start to feel. And that is, in fact, the whole that consumers are looking for when they book a trip. Now, you can clearly see that these people can be ambassadors of rest. They seem to be having a great time. And that is then also what you can do and use to get in new clientele in the next season. To have people say, yeah, okay, I want this as well. So to conclude this presentation, what I would like to highlight is the following. Is that, conclusion on Dutch needs and on travelers' needs, rest is the magic word. In this digital era, we are so overworked with our emails, with our constant text messaging, that taking a break is no longer taken for granted. So we have to purchase our way to getting a break. If you stress yourself out when you offer touristic service, it helps Dutch tourists at least to become calmer, to become relaxed. Through that, you can create ambassadors of rest and attract new tourists who are looking for that same whole, namely that they have to get their minds and bodies clear. Now, how can you stand out online? If you marketize this need, you can do that by emphasizing the service of rest in any keyword and images, so that people really get the picture, okay, this is the location I have to be at, because this is going to give me a breakaway from everything else that gives me stress or even a burnout. With that conclusion, I would like to end this presentation. I thank you very much again for offering this opportunity, and also for all of you to join in and to view this presentation as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jonathan. Wow. Mr. Jonathan, we are really interested about your presentation. It's very interesting. Well, earlier you said about traveler from Netherlands that needs rest, right?
Yes.
Yeah, rest. And then what the mean of the fully rest for the Netherlands people? It means, how do Indonesian actor, especially for tourism actors, to get the meaning of the rest of Dutch people like this?
Yeah. The thing is, what you see, if you, of course, I can spot Dutch tourists because I can hear it from the language. I can see it from how they behave. Is that when they get nervous on holiday, They're constantly asking at the lobby or with their guide, okay, when are we going to do this? Or is this already organized? Or can you help me with that? So they feel that as a tourist, they have to manage everything. And again, then they approach their holiday as work. What we want to accomplish is that they don't have to ask any questions anymore, because everything is taken care of before they actually start asking these questions. So before a Dutch tourist starts to wonder, hey, where is my order? Or when are we leaving? Or when are we coming back? If you can do it before that moment, then they will feel, oh, it's all being organized. I don't have to ask anything. I don't have to say anything. Okay. It's all being done. And let's say the key is to understand that the Dutch mindset is to wanting to do things immediately. And if, of course, a Dutch person finds themselves in a culture where time is more stretchable, where things do not necessarily happen immediately, and actually in a big part of the world, it actually works like that. So the Dutch mindset, that they are a minority with their mindset. Not many people think like the Dutch in that way. But if you can then adapt for those tourists in your service offering and say, okay, we understand how you feel. We understand your mindset. Well, we're going to make it happen for you. Yeah, then they feel, okay, I don't have to worry anymore. It's just being taken care of. And that's the moment where they feel, hey, I'm no longer at work. I don't have to do something anymore. I can just let it go because it is all taken care of.
Okay, I see. Now I understand, because the first time when you mentioned about rest, I think Dutch traveler in Indonesia just only wants to sleep here, sleeping here. No, yeah, not like this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Dr. Jonathan, now we will enter to the next agenda. This is a question and answer from the audience. Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yes.
We have around 22 minutes for the question. This in the chat forum, so many students and people asking to you about your presentation.
Okay.
But yeah, some of them is directly asked to you. Okay, I would like to ask first this. Wait a minute. From from Rizky Hidayat. Okay, from Rizky Hidayat. Rizky Hidayat asking, Rizky from IB Kesatuan, majoring in marketing management. Yeah. And he said that I want to ask a question: how to ensure product quality to customer, especially in online purchase transaction. Maybe you can explain about your experience or what the Dutch people think about the online purchase.
That's a very good question. And in fact, what is nice about this question is that I can share with you that online shopping happens a lot in the Netherlands. So much actually that more and more traditional stores that you see outside are going bankrupt because people just prefer to buy online. And one of the reasons because of that is because as I mentioned earlier, Dutch people don't like to spend money. They always look for the best price. When they go, for instance, to Google, they type in the name of the product. Then Google shows all the same products offered by different vendors, and they just pick the lowest price. So that's one way. The second thing when it comes to quality is the timing of the delivery. So nowadays, if you offer something before 3 in the afternoon, and in some occasions even before 11 p.m., you will already receive your package the next day. So within 24 hours, if you, for instance, purchase a book, you will have it in your mailbox the very next day. It's super fast. And the Dutch consumers, again, because they are so much on time, right? They expect this. So the moment that as a store online, you say, well, it may take 5 work days before we can ship your order. Now then people may already start to complain and already think, yeah, this is way too long. I want to purchase it somewhere else. So quality in that sense is about how quick do you deliver. And the thing is, if you're very late in delivering, people will put bad online reviews about your company. And that's another thing you may want to know. Dutch people always like to complain. They always like to say what they don't like about a service. It doesn't mean they always mean it negative, but they just like to show how it can be even better. So quality especially is about the timing. How quick can you deliver your product?
It means in Netherlands, the delivery company works for 24 hours.
Yes, it's crazy. And in fact, the deliverers of those packages, they can they're not allowed to take a break. If they take a break, and you would think everyone needs a break, right? But if they take a break, they take it away from their salary. So it's a very tough job, and it makes people make mistakes. Like you miss a few houses, and then of course you get an automatic email notification saying, "Oh, we're sorry, your package is delayed." Yeah, and then of course that can lead to negative reviews online from those customers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Thank you very much for your explanation.
Yes, of course.
It's great for us. Okay. Next question from Muhammad Anggia Sukma from IB Kesatuan from Diploma Department of Marketing Management. Muhammad Anggia asking about the digital era can affect adoption of the digital technology, and then how to implement a digital system where the market can no longer be limited by space and distance. You get the question? About digital technology. I mean, looks like almost similar with before, right? Yeah. Okay, but maybe you can explain a little bit about digital system, maybe digital system in Netherlands.
Yeah, so one of the things that we have seen over the last couple of years is that the internet providers, they have highly invested in making sure that every household is able to have super fast internet. So for example, the standard now is becoming a download speed of 500 megabytes per second and an upload speed of, let's say, 30 to 40 megabytes per second. We are investing heavily in the 5G network, so that also with our mobile devices, we have super fast internet. And this, of course, makes it much easier then to offer online products, streaming services, so watching videos or sports, and at the same time to buy and also sell your products. Banking, online banking is highly developed in the Netherlands. I have an app on my phone. With that, I can make all my purchases. I can transfer money internationally with a few clicks on my phone, and it's done. So building super fast internet connections, that makes it very easy then to, let's say, replace the traditional outlets that you find, for instance, in a shopping area, to replace them with digital outlets.
Okay. Express. Okay, next question from Fadila Husna, also IB Kesatuan students. Good morning, sir. My name is Fadila Husna from Marketing Management. I want to ask to Mr. Jonathan about the marketing strategy. How to determine a good market strategy during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, please.
Well, Yeah, good morning. Thank you for your question. Yeah, that is of course, I guess the million-dollar question: how to find a good marketing strategy. If I look at the Netherlands, what has changed over the last year is that instead of using the traditional marketing outlets like TV or the paper, the printed, brochures, for example, is that it is all changing with apps. So even individual restaurants, so not a restaurant chain, but individual restaurants, they have developed their own app so that you can place orders. Now, a key marketing strategy is if you team up with several individual restaurants and you say, let's make sure that our services are offered through one central point. Now, perhaps like takeaway, the sort of home delivery platforms, they form an umbrella for many individual restaurants, and they say, place your order with us on our platform, pick the restaurant you like, and we make sure that we deliver it for you. Individual stores are doing the same. So they say, let's team up together, make an online presence, and through there, people can pick and choose from any of our stores what they like to have. So it seems that one of the key marketing strategies is that individuals who normally may be a bit like competitors, they create joint platforms so that it becomes more interesting for a consumer to go online and pick and choose from that platform, rather than that they have to go over one website and another website and another website. That makes it more convenient for consumers to be at one location and from there to say, hey, this is how we can save time and pick the best product.
Okay, thank you. I think the similar question from the Indah here. Indah is the teacher from SMK Bina Sejahtera 3 Bogor. Okay. Next question are from Donna from Jakarta. Good morning, Mr. Jonathan. My name is Donna from Jakarta. Mr. Jonathan said that nothing is expensive in Indonesia for the Dutch. But what I see is that foreign people rarely give tips when buying something or using someone's services. Yeah. It is really habit, or do you have any behavior to something like this? Maybe because please,
yeah, no, this is indeed that's a very good observation. So good morning and thank you for this question. Indeed, the thing is in the Netherlands, tipping is not a custom. So it is not really in our culture to give tips. People may do it, but they don't feel they have to do it. Because things are much, let's say, for a Dutch person, cheaper. For instance, in a country like Indonesia, they feel, hey, I want to give a little bit extra to someone if they do a good job. So if they're quick in their service or if they're very friendly in their service, then they feel, look, the price is low. Anyway, let's just add a tip because, I just feel I want to give that to this person. So in our culture, tipping is absolutely not custom, but because they go abroad and they feel, it's a good price already, they feel they just pay a little bit more because, again, the tip for them is not as much.
Okay, thank you very much for your explanation.
Yeah,
that's some people also asking about the similar question about this.
Yeah.
Okay, next question, Dr. Jonathan. Question is from Nuraini Setia, PT Pakuan Karya Mandiri. She is from some company.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Jonathan. My name is Nuraini Setia. COVID-19 is a health and economic crisis that has sustainable impact on the customer attitudes, behavior, and also purchasing habits. My question is, how to maintain customer loyalty since a digital condition, something like this?
Yeah, what I notice in my hometown is that customer loyalty is created by sharing personal stories. So to give you an example, most bookstores in my hometown have gone bankrupt even before Corona, because people were ordering things online. Then Corona came, and then more and more stores started to go bankrupt because of the product they sell, and people would not be interested in it anymore, or they were not allowed to open for too long. So what some stores did is they shared personal stories about their company, what they did in the community. For example, they shared that online, and because the penetration rate of the Dutch in terms of internet is so high, people see it on their social media accounts. And that creates a connection then to, for instance, your store or restaurant or other company that you have. So it's the personal stories that you create. For example, every week you share one story with a newsletter, with pictures or a small video. That triggers people to say, oh yeah, that's right, of course. Well, why don't we go again to that restaurant? Or why don't we, buy a few books from that bookstore? So it's the personal story that helps in this case.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question are from, because some question is similar, so I should be. Okay, this is from Ilham Sidik Permana. Ilham Sidik Permana from IB Kesatuan. Dear Mr. Jonathan, I want to ask a question. How is the best way to create competitive advantage in digital area, especially how to make a very competitive advantage, and then we can keep the loyalty for the customer?
Yeah, okay, good morning. Thank you for this question. It depends, of course, on what line of business you are. But if you think about, let's say, online competitive advantage, when it comes to online stores selling products for home delivery, for example, what we see in the Netherlands is that those stores that have the biggest product range and the fastest delivery time, so the shortest delivery time, they are more likely to be picked to buy the product. So people expect, if I go on my phone with the app, that if I need, for instance, a pair of socks or a t-shirt, or if I need batteries or a new phone, I can all buy that in that one online store. So the bigger the product range and the quicker the delivery time, the quicker people think, yes, I got to go to your store. And one of the most successful stores we have in the Netherlands, in that sense, it's called BOL, bol.com. And basically what they sell is basically anything. And they have the slogan, this is the store for everyone. So that helps to trigger people like, okay, they have something that I need because of their wide product range.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much for all question and answer from the audience, and also thank you very much for from Mr. Jonathan. Jonathan, I will inform that from all audience, which is give our question today, we will give some voucher. So three person, jadi 3 orang. For 3 person, I will give a voucher for the best question. And then any suggestion from you, Mr. Jonathan? Which one is the best, the best question for today?
Yes, well, I definitely like the one about how to create customer loyalty in the era, because that is really an important question. So I thought that is because again, for the let's say the retailers, the traditional retailers, that is a key challenge right now. In the Netherlands, we see how many retailers suffer from this pandemic. So I thought that is a good question.
Okay, very good.
They're all good questions, of course, but this one was really nice.
Yeah, thank you. Okay,
Yes.
then loyalty, sorry. Loyalty. Oke, nanti saya akan cek lagi siapa yang bertanya tentang itu. Yang berikutnya saya mengapresiasi kepada pertanyaan dari Dona dari Jakarta. Jadi itu adalah penerima voucher kita yang kedua akan mendapatkan voucher pulsa sebesar 100.000, nanti akan dihubungi oleh panitia. Dan yang ketiga adalah dari Nuraini Setia yang berbicara tentang digital. Ya. Oh sorry ya, Nuraini inilah yang tadi yang disebutkan oleh Profesor Jonathan. Nuraini's name Jonathan. She asked about loyalty.
Yeah. Okay.
Then Nuraini the first, and then the second is Donna, and then the third is Bobby Arkan. Okay. Congratulations for.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Before we close the occasion, I will give the time again to our Master of Ceremony. Again, thank you very much, Mr. Jonathan Van Melle, for your coming here.
Welcome, my pleasure.
This is a short discussion, but hopefully it's become very huge gain for us, for all of us. Yeah. Again, thank you. Okay, I would like to ask about to the MC. Diva, are you here?
Yes, Pak.
Okay, Diva, time is yours. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan Van Melle and Mr. Bambang Hengky right now. So the next agenda is presentation of certificates to speakers. Please to directors of vocational program IB Kesatuan, Dr. Adil Fadila, SAMM, to submit certificate to Dr. Jonathan Van Melle and Mr. Bambang Hengky.
Baik, untuk yang pertama saya akan sampaikan sertifikat untuk pembicara pertama, Bapak Bambang Hengky Renanto. Terima kasih Pak Bambang sudah memandu, menjadi narasumber sekaligus juga memandu jalannya seminar ini. Terima kasih Pak Bambang.
Terima kasih Pak Adil. Sudah saya terima sertifikatnya. Thank you very much for the certificate. Thank you again.
You're welcome. And second, to Mr. Jonathan Van Melle, thank you, Mr. Jonathan Van Melle, who has agreed to be a speaker at this guest lecture event.
Thank you.
On behalf of the IBIC Vocational Program, here we present a certificate as a thank you and appreciation for Mr. Jonathan, who has given a lot of knowledge to all of us. Thank you, Mr. Jonathan.
Thank you very much. It was a big pleasure.
Saya kembalikan ke MC. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Adil Fadila, and also Dr. Jonathan Van Melle, and also Mr. Bambang Hengky Renanto. So, at the end of the session, let's take a group photo shot. Please, all audiences, to turn on the video because our officer will do a screenshot as a photo shot. Baik, kepada Bapak, Ibu, serta rekan-rekan yang saya hormati, dimohon untuk menyalakan kamera karena sebentar lagi panitia akan melakukan sesi pemotretan. Baik, kita lakukan pemotretan ya. Aba-aba dari saya. 1, 2, 3. Sekali lagi dengan gaya bebas. 1, 2, 3. Baik. Finally, by saying Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin, the international guest lecture for marketing session will be closed. Hopefully, this will benefit for all of us. And again, I would like to say thank you very much for all of you, especially Rector of IB Kesatuan, Profesor Dr. Haji Murmahadi Surejanegara, SAMM, AKA CPA, CA, CSFA, ASEAN CPA, and also thank you to Dr. Jonathan Famil and Mr. Bambang Hengky Renanto, and of course, all of audiences of the international guest lecture for marketing session. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, we would like to invite you all to join the international guest lecture for banking session with special speaker Naima Andli, PhD from Ilma University, Karachi, Pakistan. And thank you very much for being with us, and see you again. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a great day, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Diva. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Kesatuan Foundation, as is known today, is started from humble beginning with the establishment of an elementary school in 1926. Our main focus today is on education for everybody willing to study from kindergarten to higher education.
Kesatuan Foundation is committed to participate in improving education to meet the present and future challenges in Indonesia, in our neighboring countries, and the world.
S.Pi Kesatuan always strive to convince the community that the existence of S.Pi Kesatuan is intended to provide a bridge for the community to gain a better life.
pasti bisa.
Kita bersama pasti kuat. Kita bersama pasti hebat.
Kita bersama menjadi yang terdepan.